Hello, hello, hello. Wow, hi. You know what? I forgot about this screen when I was switching. When I was putting everything back. Because it's a different resolution for Kuma. So I'm just like, whoops, hi. Here I am. You wouldn't believe the struggles I've had tonight with this. You don't understand. Anyways. Hi. Welcome back to Tristan Tourney of the Arcane. It is a fantastic time to get back into this game, right? It's only been like a week and a half since I played it. Actually, wait, no. 2.5 weeks since I last played it. Because a week and a half ago was Turnabout Christmas 2022. Now, let me tell you a little bit of something about Turnabout Christmas going forward. No worries. It's not canceled. It's great. It's the best tradition of 2020 of my year. It's the only tradition I really keep up with, except for birthday bashes and extra life. But it's like the one that's like not tied to like anniversaries. It's just Christmas. So next year will be the face cam special because I felt like since we did the Kuma special this year, we should have a face cam special and and let Amelia take over. And then in 2 years, Turnabout Christmas 2027. That's 2026. That's going to be Turnabout Christmas, the extended edition. And you'll learn soon enough what I mean by extended edition. It's like, how can you extend an episode? By playing another episode, obviously. Anyways, so like I said, we're returned to Tyrion Cuthbert, Tourney of the Arcane. Where were we last time? I remember there was a murder of somebody who nobody really likes. Yep. That's what I remember. And I don't remember what was going on with that murder, but things were definitely happening. And I'll also be real to get that. I am unsure if we're going to do anything Saturday. I'm not entirely sure. But what would be the case So there may be something, there may not be something. Now, also, if you notice this extra life goal, I have not set up extra life yet this year, so be sure to make sure to check. I will update that with the 2025 stuff as soon as I do that, probably tomorrow. But first, I want to set up the milestones so that way, if they're hit before I post them, I at least know what I have to do. That's how that would work. Anyway, sorry about also starting so late. But like I said, this webcam was my webcam was being funky, or was it? Dun dun dun! My webcam was fine the entire time. You know what I had to do to fix my issue? I had to uninstall and reinstall VTuber Studio. Yep. Go me. It was that simple. We could have had a normal Turnabout Christmas, but no. Because I was too lazy to be like, oh, what if I just uninstalled and reinstalled? We had to have a Turnabout Christmas, how Kuma still the Turnabout. But you know what? I'm fine with that. I don't use the Kuma model much anymore because of this awesome model I have here. So it's really nice to go back to my roots of my PNG tuber days. But you know what? We need to get back into we need to get back into, solving magic crime. Alright. Time for the trial. Just deep breaths. And relax. Hi, Tyrion! Ah! Bless! Don't sneak up on me like that. My bodyguard after. Why are you so nervous? Not as this is your first time defending someone. Says my first ever client. I can't help it! There's something about this building that just fills me with anxiety. Ugh. It's too bad Ruby couldn't make it. I'd say you should come down for Wallace's sake, but there's so many people here. Oh, at least I'm not the most anxious person in the room. And they're all staring at me. Their eyes are burning red like a pack of flesh-eating maggots. Gross. Don't worry, Wallace. Our investigation revealed a lot of weakness in the prosecution's case. We have a strong case for your acquittal. Okay. See? You can be confident when you want to be. Strange. And something is calming about Wallace's anxiety. It's like he just absorbs the tension out of you and into himself. Court is now in session for the trial of Wallace Knight. Wallace? Wow, words. Man, I haven't even drank since I haven't even drank any alcohol this year yet. So hey, chat, did you know that on New Year's Eve I drank almost an entire bottle of wine? And surprisingly, I didn't wake up with a hangover. And I'm probably gonna finish that bottle of wine tomorrow. It's just one glass, chat. Don't worry. But don't worry. I have another glass. There's another bottle of wine in the fridge that is calling to me. Like a siren. So I might be having 2 glasses of wine tomorrow. Which is honestly just enough wine for me, usually. I don't know what it was about New Year's Eve that just oh, wait, no, I remember exactly why. I drank a lot New Year's Eve. I would have been such an emotional wreck otherwise. I was doing the new Arcane quest in Genshin. That's what it was. That's what made me so emotional, and I was like, I gotta drink so I don't cry so much. I mean, of course I cried, but you know, I didn't cry as much as I was drinking. And we learned that I am a very giggly drunk. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is also ready. Very well. Let us begin the proceedings. Prosecutor C1, can you please list the charges? The defense is a student at Wyvern Imperial Academy. Mr. Nightguard is charged with first-degree murder, negligent misuse of the arcane arts, and illegal practice of advanced necromancy. Necromancy? Do you mean to tell me that the defendant is a necromancer? Yes, Your Honor. In this day and age, how could the kingdom let this happen? Your Honor, I would like to remind the court that they should view my client objectively. Of course, but one can easily see from the list of charges. Necromancy plays a large part in the charges. Indeed, the crime occurred within the academy this morning. The victim, Catherine Bellwether, a professor at the school. Although there were no witnesses, traces of necromancy were detected on the body. Furthermore, the observatory report shows that the body had no physical wounds. I see. Necromancy is the only type of magic that can harm an individual without physically wounding them. Additionally, the alchemist report shows no signs of poison or disease. Therefore, only one can conclude that a necromancer has committed the crime. As many of you know, necromancy is held under high scrutiny by the Crown. Aside from the defendant, no other students were permitted to learn the advanced necromantic magic. As such, the defendant was the only mage in that building capable of committing the murder. I see. This is certainly compelling evidence. To properly present our case, the prosecution would like to call Commander Olin White to the stand. How you doing, bud? Commander White, please testify to the court about the Inquisition's findings. Yeah. We didn't talk to him. We didn't talk to him at all during the investigation, if I remember right. I was kinda mad! I like him. Like, very much so. Like, as a grandpa kind of vibes. Started when the city watch got a call from the Imperial Academy. Someone was attacked. The whole building was put on lockdown. We set up a perimeter around the area and waited for the lockdown system to deactivate. When we finally got into the building, the prosecutor personally inspected the body and detected traces of necromancy on it. There's no cuts or bruises on the body either. The entire body was clean. With those two pieces of evidence, we concluded that it could only be the necromancer kid that did it. The Inquisition's testimony is just as you expect. You already found the identified holes in Steelwing's case. All you have to do is find that hole in the commander's testimony. Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination. Well, of course. When in doubt, press. What time did this call come in? A little after 3 p.m. It was a few minutes after the murder was discovered. Right, you remember that was there. You remember that was around the time the lockdown occurred. Right, the lockdown can't be ended manually, so they must have been forced to wait outside. Out 1 hour duration to elapse. How secure was the perimeter? Is it possible that someone slipped past you? The Inquisition was working on the Conjuncture, the City Watch, and the King's Guard. With that many people at the scene, it's very unlikely that anyone escaped unnoticed. Sure, for better or worse, the kingdom will act quickly to protect the building filled with nobles. Why did the prosecution expect the body instead of the Inquisition? Well, how I conduct the investigation is irrelevant to proceedings. Or would you like to insinuate that I am not as competent as Commander White? You don't question her competency, but it's so bizarre a decision on her part. While the court admits the prosecution's actions are unorthodox, we see no reason to question the prosecutor's ability. Thank you, Your Honor. How careful was the body checked? Perhaps the prosecution missed something. The coroner could not find even the smallest cut, bruise, or fracture on the body. Furthermore, the alchemist's report shows no signs of poison or disease. The coroner was actually astounded how scathed the body was. That makes sense. If someone used to mend wounds on the body, it would heal even the most minor of injuries. The question is, how do you prove that? The prosecution believes that my client used necrotic blight. Yep, it's the only way that the crime makes sense. Necrotic blight? I'm afraid I've never heard of this spell before. Necrotic blight is a spell that drains the life force from its target. When used on a living human, it makes their bodily function cease, instantly killing them. I see. What a horrible spell. That child should never have been allowed to learn something like that. What are they thinking? Ugh. Having that spell not doing Wallace any favors. Sorry. Any questions here? This is what happens when you go 2 weeks without looking at the court records. Let me look at the court records. Wait. It also has the illusion magic. Okay. I'm gonna look at more evidence. There we go. Commander White, it appears that you neglected to mention one key detail of the crime scene. Yeah, what's that? During your testimony, you said that the entire body was clean. I will admit that there wasn't any wounds on the body. However, the body was certainly not clean. At the scene of the crime, there was a large pool of blood located where the body was. This blood came from the victim's body, and it definitely was not clean like the commander testified. I'm sorry, Mr. Cuthbert, but I fail to see the significance of this. I'd like to remind the court of the prosecution's case against my client. They're accusing him of murdering the victim using necrotic blade, a spell which would not have physically wounded the victim. Oh, why was there any blood at all? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. The facts still stand. There was no wounds on the body, nor were there any reports of poison or disease on the body. There are clearly magical elements in this case. But Cat Aspen Bellwether was bleeding profusely at some point. How else would there be a blood stain on the body? Do you have an explanation for that, Miss Stillwin? No, I'll admit that the prosecution doesn't have an explanation for that. While I do find the circumstance questionable, all other evidence clearly points to the defendant. If the victim wasn't killed with necromancy, there was a trace of... Why was there a trace of it on the body? I'm glad you asked. I'd like to present a spell that could have fit the trace of necromancy on the body. Mend wounds. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that a healing spell? That's correct, Your Honor. Spells from the School of Necromancy can control the forces of life and death. Mend wound is in fact a necromancy spell. Really now, I wasn't aware of this. Now, I'd like the court to consider this. What happens if Bellwether was wounded? Someone attempted to heal her using mend wounds. All of her wounds would have disappeared from her body. I see. Objection! Do you honestly think I'm that incompetent, Mr. Cuthbert? Frankly, I'm a little insulted. What? The Inquisition is well aware of what happens when a mage attempts to save a victim using mend wounds. The healers that arrived on the scene confirmed the victim was long dead. None of them attempted to heal her. Well, what if someone tried to heal her and didn't report it? Please. None of the healers would have anything to gain by doing so. In fact, as a necromancer, the defendant could have easily carried out the described scenario. He could have cast mend wounds on the victim after murdering her to confound the investigation. At the end of the day, the burdens of proof is on you. But if you could just find out who healed the body, the case is yours. And whoever this healer is, Valentina definitely knows her. Your Honor, I will admit that I don't have any evidence to support my theory. However, I do believe that we can bring it to light. There may have been two people who witnessed someone cast magic on the body. Valentine and Varys Innes, the sisters who discovered the body. We've already questioned those two witnesses extensively. If they had witnessed something like that, it would have came up in their testimony. If that's true, you have nothing to lose by hearing their testimony. Very well. If you're so confident, let's hear the witness testimony. It seems the prosecution has no objections. However, if this line of questioning leads nowhere, I will see no reason to prolong this trial. Do you understand, Mr. Cuthbert? Of course, Your Honor. Oh crap, it's the guy from before. Is he the necromancer's lawyer? She just got into the stand and she's already stressed out. I guess I am pretty powerful. It's working in your favor. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the court. My name? Witness, there is no need to be so nervous. We merely want to hear what you saw the day of the murder. Right, it's just that guy over there. He's... You mean Mr. Cuthbert? Did this man harass you, witness? Wait a minute. Yeah! Oh god. He soups harassed me. Chat. How shameful. Your Honor, it's not what you think! I don't remember what happened, but it's not what you think, Your Honor. I would expect a member of our justice system to behave more professionally. Your Honor, please! It's not what you think! Celeste? Shut up. Anyways, please state your name and occupation for the court, Miss Ioness. Calm down. You can't prove anything. My name is Valentina Annis. I'm a member of the kitchen staff at Vanguard Imperial Academy. As I recall, you're one of the witnesses who discovered the body. Apparently, the defense finds your involvement suspect. Rest assured, Miss Ines. In this court, you will be protected from Mr. Cuthbert's harassment. I will not take this slander. This is the court of law. I demand proof that I was harassing her. Now, please testify to the court on what happened that day. Yeah. I was walking with my sister in the West Wing when we noticed something in the nearby classroom. We looked over to see what it was. Then we saw Miss Bellwether bleeding on the ground. My sister tried her best to help her, but the professor has already lost a lot of blood. While my sister did that, I used an emergency communication device to call for help. But it was too late. By the time her bleeding stopped, she had already lost too much blood. If your theory is true, that means she just lied in her testimony. She definitely is holding something back. She definitely saw more than she's letting on. You just need to prove that somehow. Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination. How many times am I gonna have to press before someone's like, stop harassing the witness? Where were you two coming from? We came from the kitchen. We were taking a break after the lunch rush. The cafeteria is on the west side of the academy. It's believable that they were on that side of the building. What did you see in the classroom, Miss Ines? There was no abuse of the witness, as I recall. Don't worry about it. It was fine. It's fine. I did not harass the witness! She's lying! Did you notice anything else strange in the lecture hall? Well, there was that terrible smell. Ah. Now it's all coming back to me. That smell was from an experiment gone wrong. No. It was awful. I almost couldn't see how much I was tearing up. But other than that, I mostly focused on the professor. Makes sense. It'd be hard to notice anything else. She tried to help her? Miss Landis, how exactly did your sister try to help Miss Bellwether? What? I slipped up. My sister used first aid to try to stop the bleeding. I see. Could you add that detail to your testimony? Yeah, sure. Your sister knows how to use a first aid kit? Yeah, it was covered in our training when we first started working. I saw the nobles around. I guess the headmaster wanted to make sure we were prepared. Let me look at the evidence again. She has a magical trace of necromancy on her. Someone cast a necromancy spell on her within the last 48 hours. Fire all the staff and replace them with Arcane scratch practices a few weeks ago. 30 minutes before the body was found, Bellwether walked past Jan in the west hallway. He was in her path, so she shoved him out of the way. After that, she knocked over a vase, shattering it. Even though Jan didn't say anything to her, she yelled at him. She yelled at him to be quiet after this. Being hyperactive during questioning. No! Let's keep pressing. A device. It's an artifice device that allows for long-range communication. AKA, it's a phone. Some of those devices are placed around the schools for use during an emergency. I see. So, who did you contact? I wasn't sure, honestly. I could hear a lot of people talking on the other end. That particular device broadcast to the headmaster's office in the Watch City barracks. I imagine that's why the headmaster was able to activate the lockdown so quickly. I see. But it was too late. I see. That must have been a difficult experience for both of you. It was especially hard on my sister. I think she blames herself for not being able to save her. We didn't like Professor Bellwether, but we still didn't want her to die. She seems sincere when she says that. And you don't see any dissonant thoughts through the eye either. Honestly, her testimony makes a lot of sense. It's hard to figure out which part she might be lying about. There has to be a contradiction there somewhere. You're serious that Valentina saw someone use men wounds on Bellwether. You should focus on that statement and describe how they both interacted with her. Maybe it's something to do about them being hair.
Objection!
Nope. Definitely though. It's definitely this. Wait, hold on. Illusion. This is gonna be a wild shot, but
Objection!
yep, a wild shot. Oh, I guess I can. Yes. I simply can't do once. Restaurant change our trustee by the headmaster. I know 201 if it's versus.
Objection!
Ah! Witness, what is the meaning of this? What are you looking at me like that? Maybe I can elaborate, Miss Ines. You weren't present in the gallery earlier, were you? No, I was waiting in the lobby. Lady Sealwing told me to wait there. Well, I suppose I could consider myself lucky. You see, Miss Ines, one key element of the case is that the body didn't have any wounds on it. So what would be the point of using... Yeah, so? So please explain to the court, Miss Ines. How did Valerie apply first aid when there shouldn't have been any wounds on the body? What? Ah, no, I screwed up. I saw that wound on her. What happened? There's clearly something amiss here. But I'm afraid I don't fully understand the implications of this. Are you accusing the witness of committing perjury, Mr. Cuthbert? When something lies, they say as close to the truth as possible while changing minute details. In her thought, Valerina said that she saw a wound on Bellwether, and she almost mentioned Valerie was the one who tried to save the professor. She didn't try to save Bellwether with the aid. Could she have used magic instead? My sister could be the mage that you're looking for. Witness! The witness was lying, Your Honor, but not about everything. Valerie did try to save the victim's life by addressing her wounds, but she didn't use first aid. She used magic. Oh no, he found us out.
Objection!
I'm sorry, Mr. Cuthbert, but if your theory is completely flawed. How so, Miss Steelwyn? Well, it's quite simple. We have already verified that neither sisters are mages. What? Wait, how can you be so sure? During the investigation, we had both the Anger sisters attuned to a spell condominium. It's a standard procedure for the Inquisition when interviewing witnesses. then that means that's correct. Neither of the ancestors could atone to a compendium. That's right. The Inquisition checked us both. And neither of us are mages. Phew, that was close. Damn it. Are you around about Valerie being a mage then? No, that can't be right. Your thought said you found us out. That means you were on the right track. Valerie has to be a mage you're looking for. Celeste, is it possible for a mage to hold a spell compendium and avoid attuning to it? No, it just needs to be on their person. When I was arrested, the Inquisition also made me attune to one of their spell compendiums. They were really careful to make sure that I did the atonement correctly. There's no way a mage could avoid attuning a compendium with them watching you. Right. Commander White was very neglected. Maybe very neglected sometimes, but even he's not that isn't that careless. Now, if you're done, I believe that you're exhausted all your options. But wait, I'm still not done cross-examining this witness. What could possibly hope to glean from her testimony? Valentina should be stressed out enough to see more of her thoughts, but you can't exactly say you're planning to read her mind. There is one key element to her testimony that the court is overlooking. I have a right as an attorney to complete my cross-examination. Your Honor, the defense is clearly trying to buy time. I may be compelled to agree with you. However, I also admit that there are some elements of the witness testimonies that are quite peculiar. I will allow the defense to perform one more cross-examination. That was close. I know this is your last chance, Mr. Cuthbert. If you do not proceed in nothing substantial, I will pass my verdict. Of course, Your Honor. Right, it's all or nothing. Can't find anything by my reading your mind. This whole case is finished. Witness, please give your testimony once more. Okay. Damn it, how long is he gonna plan to keep me up here? I don't think they did it, actually. Like I said, my sister and I saw Miss Bellwether bleeding on the ground. We rushed over to her. I was definitely surprised when I saw her like that. Now that you mention it, I don't know if I saw any wounds on her, but I definitely saw blood. Can't go back now. I just need to play dumb. My sister tried to save her, but I didn't use any magic. She didn't use magic. Ugh, Valerie, you're too kind-hearted for your own good. Neither of us are as a mage. Both of us held back for that book that Nyx gave us. I was caught off guard when they asked us. I almost found us out. The commander was watching us the whole time. He confirmed it. It's a good thing that we're twins, or that trick wouldn't have worked. What are we gonna do? I have pretty hard proof that Valerie isn't a mage. Valerie is the mage we're looking for. I'm sure of it. I'm just not sure why they felt the need to lie to the Inquisition. More importantly, how did they trick the Inquisition? That matches the detail of her previous detail. You have no reason to doubt this. It sounds like you're just backtracking on your previous testimony. I'm not! I just assumed she was wounded because of all the blood. How was I supposed to know that someone close to her wounds? This doesn't imply that she's lying, but her logic is sound. You need to look at the other statements and thoughts that accompanied them. If Valerie wasn't the one who closed her wounds, how did she try to help her? I don't know. She might have been looking for an open wound to apply first aid to. But if we assume that you're telling the truth, there wouldn't have been any wounds to find. My client would have already closed them to put on the investigation. I'm telling you, I don't know! It's hard to work with her pleading ignorance of what happened. Maybe you should try looking at the thoughts for other statements. They almost found them out. Can I assume that the book was an untuned spell compendium? Yes, the Inquisition has a myriad of them. It's a standard procedure to have witnesses tuned to them. But doesn't the kingdom require that mages register? Why don't you just cross-reference those records with the witnesses' names? For whatever reason, many mages among the common folks dislike the concept of register. As a result, many of them chose to hide their powers illegally. It's a good thing that they're twins. Did you pull some kind of trick to deceive the Inquisition while attuning, Miss Irenis? Of course not! Well, we know that lying to the Inquisition would get us in trouble. Why would either of us take a risk like that? Living as an unregistered mage is a serious crime. If Valerie wasn't mage, then you would have been charged with fraud right then and there. Yeah, but we already proved that neither one of us are mages. Yes, it seems to differ. Think through this. Think like a normal cross-examination. Nearly all her thoughts are suspicious contrary to her testimony. What you need to do is find the thought that gives you a thread on the pull. In this case, you need to find the thought that implies how the twins tricked the commander.
Objection!
Miss Ines, your thoughts betray you. What? You found the thought. It must have done something, but what? It must have happened when the commander was interrogating them. Amren was the one who collected their statements. Did he notice anything off about their behavior? From what he said, they had a few quirks, but nothing too suspicious. Quirks? He told me that they were running and spinning around him during questioning. What does that mean? I have no idea. Perhaps they were on edge after finding their coworker murdered. Running and spinning. Her thoughts also said it's a good thing we're twins. How did the twins trick the Inquisition? This means the so-called trick wouldn't have worked if they weren't twins. Of course, they switched places! Ah! The classic twin switcheroo! Valentina attuned to the first continuum. Then she pretended to be Valerie to attune to the second one. Commander White couldn't tell the difference between them. Miss Ines, there's something I wanted to confirm. During the investigation, both you and Valerie tuned to a spell continuum. Am I correct? Yeah, the that night watched us do it. And how did he have you do this? Did you both attune to those compononiums at the same time? Or did you attune to them one after another? What? No way! Does he know what we did? I fail to see how this makes any difference, Mr. Colbert. Yes, I agree. The spell compononium would work regardless in what order they went. You may not be aware of this, Your Honor, but Valentina and Valerie Ines are identical twins, which means that their physical appearance are near identical to each other. If Commander White didn't have them to attune at the same time, what would stop the twins from switching places with each other?
Objection!
This is clearly nothing but baseless conjecture. Why wouldn't it fail to? It was such a basic task. Really, Prosecutor Steelwing? Do you find it hard to believe that Commander White would fail at a task like this? But wait a minute! This is crazy! We didn't trick the Inquisition! My sister and I are not mages! Then prove it, Miss Ines. By bringing your sister and we'll have you attuned to the spell continuum at the same time. No, wait! Order in the court! It's clear that we won't get anywhere unless we test the defense's theory. Bailiff, escort Valerie and Ines to the stand. Bring the two untuned spell compononiums. They both have hands on those compononiums for the last 10 minutes. There's no way they can pick it in front of this many people. Alright? It's the moment of truth. You can only hope that your theory is correct. No! Did he seriously? What is it, Prosecutor Steelwing? What do you see? You said it yourself, Steelwing. What I see is Commander White is seeking new employment in the near future. It appears that the defense was correct. Valentina Ines isn't a maid, but Valerie Ines is. What more? Valerie Ines' spell compononium contains the moon spell, which makes the defense theory entirely plausible. allow me to explain. We should allow you to explain what exactly. You're an unregistered mage, and you and your sister have made fools out of all of us with your pre-jury. How would you know what it's like, Lady Steelwing? What? Did you think we didn't notice your name? You're not like us. You don't have to hide. Whatever. This whole situation's gotten out of hand. I didn't think hiding it would cause so much trouble, and I won't let someone go to prison because of me, even if he is a necromancer. Please, let me testify about what I saw. I'll tell you what really happened that day. Very well, but understand that there will be repercussions for your actions, witness. Yes, I know. My sister and I were walking in the hallway from the kitchen to the foyer. Then we suddenly spotted the professor lying in a pool of blood in a nearby classroom. Valentina used the communication device to call for help while I tried to save her. I saw that she was bleeding, so I casted mend wounds on her to close the wounds. But it was too late. I closed the hole in her stomach, but she was already dead. There was a hole in her stomach. Your Honor, as you can clearly see from the witness testimony, traces of necromancy was left by the witness, not my client. What more, it's clear that there was a physical wound on the body. I see. Well, his words trailed off. He clearly doesn't want to pass a verdict when there's no clear culprit. But he has no choice. The case against Wallace is predictable on Bellwether being killed by necromancy. With Valerie's testimony, the prosecution doesn't have a shred of evidence implicating him. Very well. The court sees no reason to prolong this trial. With these new developments, the court has no choice but to find Wallace's grave not...
Objection!
I believe the court is ignoring one key detail of the witness's testimony. And what would you be... That be, Miss Steelwind. Let's re-examine the witness's testimony. Valentina used a communication device to call for help while I tried to save her. I saw that she was bleeding, so I cast a mend wound on her to close her wounds. But it was too late. I closed the hole in her stomach, but she was already dead. The communication device that Valentina and us use logs the time of day during each use. From this log, we know that Valentina uses the device at 3:04 p.m. This was a half an hour after the time of death. Where are you going with this? Mr. Cuthbert, there was a witness who saw the victim before the body was found. Jan Hewis. He, along with another witness, spotted Bellwether walking in the hallway before the body was found. I was cleaning the halls. Bellwether knocked over her face. There was shards and dirt everywhere. It was probably 20 or 30 minutes before the twins found the body. 20 or 30 minutes before the body was found. Do you see a discrepancy, Mr. Cuthbert? Wait, that can't be right. Bellwether died more than an hour before the body was found. How did Jan see her and half an hour after her death? I wonder, Mr. Cuthbert, how would one make a dead body move around and walk? No, you can't mean. There was more than one piece of evidence that pointed to a necromancer committing the crime. The defendant murdered the victim and used necromancy to animate her corpse. An undead created within the Imperial Academy? However, reprehensible. It's ridiculous. She had a hole in her stomach when the twins found her. Hugh Janice would have noticed that. Animate corpse stops the flow of blood, so she wouldn't have tracked blood anywhere. The defendant also is proficient with illusion magic. He could have easily used an illusion spell to hide the undead Bellwether's wounds, but another party could easily use the illusion magic to disguise themselves accidentally moved the body to the classroom. Miss Steelwind, if your theory is true, it would mean that the murder occurred elsewhere. Where the Inquisition happen to know where. Regrettably, we do not. Then the prosecution's case against my client is still faulty. You can't convict my client without more evidence. I agree with Mr. Cuthbert. With these new developments, the court sees fit to suspend the trial for the time being. We will give the law enforcement time to investigate these unknowns. Court proceedings for this case will resume tomorrow morning. Court is adjourned. Yay! We made it out today. Hey, are you feeling okay? The body is seen moving around an hour after death. Clearly wasn't Bellwether, or at very least, she wasn't alive when this happened. So what was it? Tyrion? The lucid magic involved. There has to be, but which spell was it? Could it have been an illusionary disguise? Tyrion! Ah, what? You've been quiet since the trial ended. You're making me worried. Sorry, I was just thinking about what Steelwing said. You mean about her theory? It's a little creepy when you think about it. Do you really think someone turns a professor into an undead? I don't think so. The prosecution's case is hinged on one clear fact. That Wallace was the only high-level necromancy nearby. We have to assume that he's the only person capable of using that type of magic. But how is she walking around? I don't know. Doesn't make any sense. It's a given that Wallace didn't touch the body, so we can discount the use of high-level necromancy. No matter what, someone used an illusion. Aren't those spells But aren't these spells that can create freestanding illusions, not just disguises? I honestly don't know. We need to talk to someone who knows about that type of magic. Wait, didn't Era say she was studying illusion magic? She might be able to tell us something if something like that is possible. Is that really a good idea? What do you mean? What if she's the one who created the illusion? What? You're detecting fear from her again. Celeste, are you scared of Iris? No! I saw it this morning too. You always get really scared when she's around. I thought I was doing a better job of hiding it. Sorry, it's not based on anything real, but for years I've been working as a mercenary. When you do that kind of work, you build up an instinct to sense danger. You know, you kind of have to if you want to stay alive. Sorry, I never knew. Hearing, I felt literal monsters before and barely escaped with my life. When I'm near Iris, none of those creatures even come close. I get this feeling like I'm in front of a predator that I could never hope to beat. Every instinct I have tells me to run whenever she goes by. Really? But she doesn't seem that dangerous. I know. I think maybe I'm just anxious or something. I should know better than anyone not to judge people by their appearance. Sorry, forget I said anything. If you think we should talk to her, then we should do that. You're not one to discount Celeste's instincts. She's always been reliable, and if Iris is making her scared, that must mean something. And if Iris is really that dangerous, then it's all that more reason to talk to her. But aside from that, there was also something else that the prosecutor said. Mr. Cuthbert, there was a witness who saw the victim before the body was found. Jan Hughes. He, along with another witness, spotted Bellwether walking the hallways before the body was found. She saw it along with another witness. That means there was another witness that saw Bellwether walking around. Right, Janet probably isn't the most reliable witness. So talking to that other person might help us figure out what happened. Do you think Steelwing will tell us who that witness was? At this point, we won't lose anything by trying. In any case, it looks like you have your work cut out for you. So where should you go first? Yes, I would like to save my progress. Tyrion, what are we doing here? I'm not sure. For some reason, you felt drawn to this place. Wait, is that Iris? Sloth points further into the cemetery. There you see Iris standing in front of a gravestone. She's placing flowers down and appears to be chanting a short prayer. Well, we found her. We should probably talk to her later. It would be rude to disturb her now. As you're about to leave, Iris suddenly turns to face you. She's far away, but you can see her beckoning you over. Oh. Hello there. Were you two looking for me? Sorry, we were looking for you, but we understand if you'd rather talk later. No, I was just finishing up here. Did you have something you wanted to talk to me about? Well, we wanted to ask you some questions about the case. Oh. That was my first time watching a court trial. You were truly remarkable. Thank you. Were you in the gallery? I always enjoyed watching physical battles in theaters, but now I see battles of wits can just be as entertaining to watch. Entertaining? Yeah, I know what you mean. He saw the odds are stacked against him, but he suddenly pulls out crazy deductions and steers the trial in his favor. I never really thought of it like that, but I'm sure it's far more entertaining to be the ones making these deductions. I'm not really sure what you mean. I practice law so I can help those prosecuted by the jury system. I don't really do it to entertain myself. But is that really true? Don't you find the experience even the least bit entertaining, Tyrion? I wouldn't really put it that way. You're far too modest. You save people from the clutches of death. And to your clients, you might as well be a knight in shining armor. Hey, Celeste, what do I look like to you? I look like an idiot. Fair enough. Earlier you said that you're studying illusion magic. I am. Did you want to ask me about the prosecution's theory? Yes, actually. How'd you know? It's easy to guess after seeing you in the courthouse. Anyways, disguising an undead with an illusion is definitely possible. As Lady Steelwind says, illusionary disguise would be the best spell for that. What if someone created a freestand illusion? A freestanding illusion? Yeah, we know that Wallace did animate and disguise is the professor's corpse. So what if the illusion wasn't disguising anything? Maybe someone created a freestanding illusion of Bellwether walking around. Or something like that. One would probably use major illusion. I didn't actually want to go anywhere. There might be more to talk about. What is it? I don't think major illusion is what we're looking for. Do you remember what Jan said? I was cleaning a mess in the hallway. Bellwether knocked over her face, and there were shards and dirt everywhere. If the Bellwether that Jan saw was a major illusion, then she couldn't have knocked over the base. Illusions that create the spell don't have any math. How's perspective of you? Are there any illusion spells that do have mass? No, illusions can only recreate visually an auditory sensation. There isn't a single illusion spell that someone can touch. So that means that someone disguised something to make it look like Bellwether. I'll have to look at suspicion, Celeste. Sorry, I wasn't. ruse. Anyways, this does tell us one important thing. What's that? The bellwethers that Jan saw had a physical mass to it. It wasn't a freestanding illusion. It was someone disguised as Bellwether. Quite a shame, isn't it? Iris looked pensively at the gray stone. The name on the stone says Emily Green, and her lifetime was apparently awfully short. She must have only been 12 years old when she died. Sorry for interrupting you. Is she someone you knew? Not personally. I'm actually here on Wallace's behalf. Wallace knew her? Wallace joined the Academy as a part of a program run by Headmaster Redmond. At the time, the Headmaster was reaching out to mages among the common folks. He started a program that admit these mages to the Academy without having to pay tuition. Both Emily and Wallace were among these mages. Wow, that must have been an amazing opportunity for them. The truth is, neither of them actually cared about learning magic. The real problem was Miss Emily had terminal illness. She and Wallace were poor orphans, and they obviously didn't have the resources to treat it. But if they enrolled in the Academy would be obligated to give her medical treatment. The Imperial Academy teaches the best mages in the kingdom. They thought that by curing her illness, it would make an easy task for the Academy's healers. They were mistaken, I'm afraid. I'm sure you know this by now. But healing spells can only treat wounds. They cannot cure illnesses. Emily's condition only worsened over the years, and eventually she succumbed to her illness. While it was so serious, I didn't understand why the kingdom was outlawing magic that could save lives. And that's why he decided to learn it himself? Yes. The Headmaster was inspired by Wallace's resolve. He gave him access to the Academy's forbidden tomes and necromancy. Wallace taught himself the spells that he knows today. That's why it was supposed to stay a secret between him and the Headmaster. But I'm sure you know how that turned out. Oh, it's you, Mr. Cuthbert. Steelman, what are you doing here? After what happened in that trial yesterday, I decided it would be best to start my investigation here. Right, Wallace was in the library the entire morning. So it makes sense that she started her search here. Actually, since I have you here, have you seen Iris at Elementor anywhere? It's my understanding that you are both acquainted with each other. Iris, what do you want with her? Not for anything serious, mind you. It's just that off of a commander lost her spell continuum. Now we need her to produce another one for our records. If you see her, please let her know that we'd like to speak with her. We saw her earlier in the cemetery nearby, but I have no idea where she is now. Ugh, once again, I have to compensate for this idiot's mistakes. Anyways, I was wondering if I could ask you some questions about the case. Very well, I suppose I still need to honor our deal from earlier. Have you had any luck finding the scene of the crime? Unfortunately, I have not. From the witness's testimony, we have a rough idea of the route Bellwether took, but none of the rooms we checked have any signs of a struggle. Why are you so sure that a struggle happened? I'm mainly basing that off of the Ines' sister's testimony. Valerie, in particular, noted that the bleeding came from a wound in her stomach. Regrettably, the body's wounds were mended, so we can't determine what kind of weapon the murderer used. During the trial, you mentioned that another witness saw Bellwether walking around yesterday. Would you be willing to tell us who that person is? I'm sorry, but I can't tell you that. You're caught a little off guard. You've been pretty transparent with your investigation so far. What changed? I have no obligation to justify myself to you. Nor do I have any obligations to help the opposition. Didn't we have a deal? Hiding information doesn't exactly seem fair to us. I believe I've given you plenty of information already. So regardless of what I said before, answer is still no. Is there something about the witness's family that you're worried about? Sorry, but you'll have to try harder if you want to bluff me. She's referring to the witness as her. Furthermore, she said that her family is dangerous. How would she go to such lengths to hide the witness's identity? In any case, it looks like she's not willing to share any more at the moment. Maybe you should try looking elsewhere. You spend some time wandering through the academy when you overhear a conversation in a nearby room. From what I understand, Miss Steelman has already moved the investigation elsewhere. How long must I wait before I can retrieve my things? Sorry, old-timer. Orders are orders. Nothing comes in or out of this case until this case is over and done. Commander White? And the headmaster, too? Oh, hello, Mr. Colbert. Hey, kid. In any case, there are other matters I must attend to. Please inform me when I can reclaim my things. Sure. It looks like Commander White is standing guard in front of this locker room. So, want to tell us some backstory stuff? Or some important sweet, sweet lore? I love that. I love sweet, sweet lore, dude. Give me it. I love lore. It doesn't look like he's conducting any sort of any investigation. Because of course he wouldn't. Is he here on Steelwing's orders? He might be able to tell you who the secret witness is. What was the headmaster talking to you about? Supposedly he has some items sorted in the faculty lockers. The problem is, Steelwing says no one gets in or out of this room, except for her and you two, apparently. She won't even let the other knights in here. Really? Is that normal? Nope. But things really are when she's calling the shots. Why would she give you access to the crime? Why would she give you access to the crime scene if she wasn't even letting in the knights in? I don't know what her deal is, but she's acting strangely lately. Probably because of me. Don't worry about it. We probably have some secret lore that connects the two of us. She's been real paranoid, that girl. Frankly, I can't tell what's going on through her head. I kinda can! It's only when she lets her guard down around me. You mentioned that the prosecutor has been paranoid lately. Do you think that's something to do with this case? Nah, it started way before that. Lately, she's been using the Inquisition to investigate a lot of non-magical homicides. What? Would it be easier to work with the relevant law enforcement to do that for that? I don't know why, but she's convinced that these cases have magic involved. But we scanned each and every one of those crime scenes, and nothing turns up. I gotta say though, if it weren't for the scans, I might actually agree with her. Why do you say that? Those homicides. I haven't seen anything like them. They're probably some of the most screwed up cases I've ever handled. For one of those cases, we had ourselves a disgruntled spouse. She found out her man was going around the barkeep, and you know the spouse does. She stalks the poor woman, and then murders her, right? She starts leaving threatening notes all around where she worked. The barkeep told the city watch all about what was happening. No matter how much they stalked out the tavern, they could never catch the perp. Then one day, the barkeep arrived home. Little did she know, the spouse was waiting there for her. The poor lady never had a chance. Then tied the whole thing together. The spouse waits for her husband to get home. She cooks him up a big roast. using the barkeep's remains. Gross! Wow, that story is so pretty. You're gross, you can say it. Yeah, we know. I know. Steelwing thinks someone developed a new type of magic that can control people's minds. And these homicides were some kind of sick test run. Magic that can control people's minds. But wouldn't Mage Blight make more sense? Mage Blight? When a mage overuses their magic, it can have pretty bad consequences on their minds. They temporarily lose grip of reality and begin to see things that aren't there. When a mage becomes like that, it almost never ends well. They enter a frenzy and begin firing spells randomly, which only makes things worse. I've seen my fair share of Mage Blight's cases. This isn't like that. Not all the perps were mages, but the ones that were, they didn't even use their magic. One thing is that each perp almost seems to wake up before we arrest them. All of them say the thing, it wasn't me, or I didn't have a choice. I didn't have a choice. What could that mean? I doubt it means anything. Some people can't face the things they've done. It's easy to say that you have no control, than to take responsibility. I wonder if you can mislead the commander into revealing who the secret witness is. During the trial, Miss Steelwind mentioned that there's someone other than you and who saw Bell while they're walking around. Have you seen them around lately? We want to speak with them. Ha! Nice try, kid. I knew it wouldn't be that simple. Well, it's worth a shot. Honestly, I couldn't tell you if I wanted to. Don't think anyone other than Steelwing knows who the witness is. I sure as hell don't. I'm pretty sure I figured that it wouldn't be easy. What? She's even hiding it from the Inquisition commander? Why's she being so secretive? Look, the commander doesn't know who the secret witness is either. This isn't getting us anywhere. Steelwing's behavior is strange, though. Perhaps you could try analyzing her behavior. If you do that, you might be able to find a way to convince her to help you. Okay, Steelwing's behavior has been strange around this time. She's hiding elements of the case, even from the commander. Anyone can tell that she doesn't have much faith in him. I'm standing right here. You know it's true, Commander. Oh, Chew. I didn't mean to switch to Chew. But hi, I'm Tunova. Hi. But hello. You only see my head. I am Tonova. And I'm hitting the wrong button. And I have no idea what's going on. Wait, that should have been the right button. How do I switch back to my normal model? What's going on? My button wasn't working. Okay, so unfortunately that was the thing. So, yeah. Okay, now I'm back to where I normally want to be. But this isn't the first time I've seen her hide key details of a case from him. There has to be a reason she's being so secretive. Her actions must be driven by paranoia. She's been hoarding information about the case. There's only one reason, and she wouldn't utilize the Inquisition like she usually does. It's because she doesn't trust them. I hate to say it, but that doesn't really surprise me. She's always been this standoffish with us. But there is one exception. Who has anyone trusted for this case? She lets us investigate the crime scene without any restrictions. Yeah, I never really thought about that. Does she trust us that much? I don't think personal trust is the reason. We don't usually interact with her, and she's worked with the Inquisition on plenty of cases that we weren't even involved in. Oh. Thielen doesn't know much about us, but she does know that we're not prone to noble corruption. Right. You indicated that indicated a noble during the last case. Meanwhile, the Inquisition usually bends to the nobility's whims. Well, I can't argue with you there. What can you infer about the secret witness? Using my insight, I could tell that she is worried about the witness's family. If she's worried about corruption from the nobility, that only means one thing. The witness has to belong to a noble family. That's why she's so weary of it interference. So we're obviously not going to get anywhere. So we're obviously not going to do anything corrupt. Why is she hiding the witness's identity from us? You recall seeing us thought through the eye. So regardless of what I said before, the answer is still no. Her family is dangerous. I think she is worried about our safety. Yeah, I guess harassing a noble could put you in danger. I mean, I already am fucked. I already indicated a noble, so, yeah, I'm already kind of fucked. That's why Celeste is around. But I'm the prodigy of the infamous Ruby Tomia. Yeah, it's not as if we aren't already on the nobility's bad side. I'm sure the Pierce family still has it out for us. This can only mean that the family we're dealing with is even more powerful than House Pierce. If the prosecution is weary of them, they could even be as powerful as the Steelwinds. Wait! Don't tell me that we're dealing with one of the 4 pillars. 4 pillars? It's the name people use for the top 4 noble houses. The family stands at the top of Kingdom's adversary. If I recall correctly, the 4 pillars are House Vega, Von Circus, House Syllabus, and House Steelwind. Steelwind is a part of one of them? Yeah, which makes it so much weirder that she's serving as a prosecutor. What is it? Steelwind's weird behavior is starting after she investigated this we're at the crime scene, and she let us, and she followed to a lead. But an hour later, she came back to the lecture hall and booted everyone out. Her behavior changed after investigating this room? Then that means she found something here. And that something must point to a family from the Four Pillars. The commander looks a bit anxious. You know, Steelwind's orders say I can't snoop around here. You two, on the other hand, don't worry, just leave it to us. I have some school records that say which belong to which student. You can use it to look at lockers you're looking at. Oh, there's a construct back here. It's probably here to aid the students. Anyways, I don't think it's relevant to our investigation. But perhaps you should make a small note of it anyways. You see the legend the commander gave you. You look carefully across the list and find some notable student names. You open Wallace's locker. Inside, you find a bottle of fragrant liquid and something looks like a makeup kit. Huh? I didn't expect Wallace to use stuff like this. It does seem strange, but it's not your place to judge. We listen and we don't judge. Good job, Tyrion. Anyways, you should try looking through other lockers. You use the legend that the commander gave you. You look carefully across. You open the locker that with some Miriam Fairy's ID number. Inside, you find a stack of worn-out textbooks and notebooks. Wait a minute. These notebooks all have Wallace's name on them. You open the notebook and it looks at its pages. It appears to be a research on the art of necromancy. These are Wallace's notebooks. But why are they in the Major Ferga's locker? Did Miriam steal his things? What's going on here? You and Celeste check the locker more thoroughly. Wait a minute. Tyrion, take a look at this! That's blood! Use the legend. You open Jadis Sextra's locker. Inside, you find several bottles of some kind of transparent lotion. There's nothing but lotion in here. Oh. I wonder why a student needs this much lotion. You take one of the bottles and inspect it more closely. Wait, Tyrion! Don't touch those with your hands! Some kind of sanitizing liquid. It's a little strange, but it doesn't seem to be related to the case. You open Weidman's syllabus locker. Inside, you find some textbooks and a neatly stacked deck of tarot cards. Oh, it's like those cards the fortune tellers use. I wonder if this student studies the division magic. But anyways, I don't think this is related to the case. We found a few things, but I can't really make sense of any of it. We should look at this from the prosecutor's perspective. Steelman found something in one of the lockers. No matter how we look at it, we found something insanely suspicious in Frigga's locker. It had Wallace's notebook and even some blood. But the blood is certainly strange. It implies that something bloody was stored in here. Do you think someone stole it? No, actually, I think it was Steelman who took it. Oh, right. Ona mentioned that she investigated this room. She must have taken the bloody item as evidence. But with that said, there's something else that's strange about Miriam Fergum's locker. It has a lot of Wallace's possessions. It's possible that she really did steal these items from him. It's more likely that this locker isn't actually hers. Remember what Wallace told us before? Sometimes the other students would steal the IDs off my locker. They would switch the numbers around. Switch it with the number of another locker. It sounded funny whenever the student who owned that locker got angry with me. So, someone switched the nameplates? This means that this isn't Miriam's locker. It's Wallace's. But that would mean that the bloody object came from Wallace's locker. It appears so. But if that's true, why didn't Steelwind represent the bloody item during the trial? I proved that Bellwether was wounded before Valerie healed her. Wouldn't that have been a perfect time to present what she found? It was a bloody item found in the defendant's locker, after all. She could have easily proved that the nameplates were such too. Right, this is weird. There's something more to this that you're seeing, but what? I think we just have to ask Steelwind ourselves. Okay. Oh, you're back? We have uncovered a few things in our investigation. Miss Steelwind, are you acquainted with a student named Marion Fariga? I underestimated him. Like I said it before, Mr. Cuthbert. I won't fall for such an obvious bluff. It's not a bluff, Miss Steelwind, and I'll prove it by using evidence we gathered. Arya Steelwind's biological profile complete. Steelwind is paranoid, and for whatever reason, it's due to the involvement of Miriam Fariga. If you couldn't convince her to reveal why she's been so secretive, you might give you more information. Yes. You've been behaving strangely, Steelwind. Even the Knights of the Inquisition have noticed. Please, just tell me, why are you being so paranoid? I'm not sure what you're trying to imply, Mr. Cuthbert. I approached this case objectively, just like I have with every other case. You ordered the Knights to stay away from the crime scene, and you've taken upon yourself to conduct the investigation yourself. That's not normal behavior for a prosecutor. I took those actions because the Inquisition is incompetent. How could I possibly trust them with anything? Knights are incompetent, but even you could see the value of delegation. During Celeste's case, you delegated the task to the Inquisition, and you could easily have investigated the McCoy Tavern yourself. This academy is huge. You wouldn't conduct your investigation this way unless you had a good reason. Then why don't you enlighten me? What would cause me to behave so strangely? You know, the Inquisition is corrupt and will bend to the nobility. So what happened if a powerful noble was publicly involved in this case? With that noble's influence, they probably ordered the Inquisition to conceal their involvement. A high-profile noble in this case is involved in this case, Steelwind. And I believe that noble is Miriam Fariga. Again, with this, do you think you can bluff me by throwing out the names of random nobles? Not every noble is a malevolent criminal like Yaris Pierce. I said it before and I'll say it again. Nothing about this case has anything to do with House Fariga. Then how do you explain this, Steelwind? The commander told us that you were following leads in the locker room. That you were following a lead from the locker room yesterday. We investigated the lockers from the students with four familiar families. And we found a blood stain with Amira's Friga's ID number, and it was presumably left by a bloody object. The bloody object was taken by someone. And we heard that you became extremely paranoid after you found something in the locker room. If I had to guess, I say you took the bloody object as evidence. And what evidence do you have to support this outrageous claim? What? The only thing you have as evidence is a blood stain. There are myriads of explanations for that. Everything else you mentioned is pure speculation. I could have found any number of items missing from that room. Or possibly nothing at all. You found an object in the locker with Miriam Frigga's nameplate on it. If you don't present what you found to the court, I'll have no choice but to pull the owner of that locker onto the stand. That's ridiculous. We both know that the locker in question belongs to Wallace Nightgrave. Can you evidently prove that, Miss Steelwind? Because the way I see it, there's a lot of room for doubt there. Enough doubt for me to pull Miss Frigga onto the witness stand. But if I had more context, maybe I wouldn't have to resort to that. Yeah, I won the argument. Cool. Well played, Mr. Colbert. I suppose I don't have a choice, do I? You successfully persuaded Maria Steelwind. Hooray. We persuaded the prosecution. Hooray. Just so we're clear, I wasn't acting to protect the nobility. But I admit that Marion Brigham was the other witness that saw Bellwether that day. I see. I had some suspicions, but there's also another matter. Steelwind looks uneasy. When I was investigating the body, I found this. Multiple instances of plagiarism, fraud, bribery, school officers committed by Miriam Frigga. What the? It looks like Miriam's been cheating at school. But why would Bellwether have something like this? From the way it's arranged, it might have been... I think it might have been blackmail. Miriam Frigga is considered a prodigy in the practice of conjuration magic. She won the Linksy Awards, and she will definitely graduate. And she will most definitely graduate with honors. If these files were to reach the public, it would absolutely ruin her reputation. Do you think that the oppressor was trying to threaten her? As it appears so. When I discovered this, several elements of the case were still unknown. I decided to look through her belongings, and I mistakenly looked through the locker with her ID. I found this in this locker. A rapier covered in blood. It was found in Wallace Nightgrave. Apparently, it has valuable heirlooms to the House Frigga. It was reported stolen by Mary Frigga weeks before the murder. It's fairly likely that this is the murder weapon. This Reaper is a valuable family heirloom to House Frigga. A few weeks ago, Miriam reported that Reaper was stolen from her room. And then it was found in Wallace's locker. Not that I'm complaining, but why didn't you present this in court? To be honest, I would like to avoid involving House Frigga by any means necessary. I knew it! You were just protecting her, aren't you? Miss McCoy, how do you recall Waymangar's justice system works? To acquit a defendant, you need to evidently prove that they didn't commit the crime. To do that, they need a solid alibi, or we need to prove that someone else committed the crime. What do you suppose will happen if you bring Mayor Frigga to the stand? House Frigga won't allow one of its members to be indicated in a court of law. They will plant and forge evidence to implicate your defendant. And they'll use the Inquisition to do so. So that's why you've been keeping them away from the investigation. Can't you do anything? The Steelwings are powerful too, aren't they? I don't have the support of my house. Right now, I'm just a prosecutor. Nothing more. Steelwind, you know this isn't fair for us. Just do nothing. Do nothing and let us win. Celeste. If we can't go after Miriam, then you can at least help us save Wallace. I'm not going to do that. Why? If Mary Frogrim isn't the real killer, her sword is the murder weapon and Bellwether's trying to blackmail her. I seem to recall another case where an innocent person's sword was used to frame them. As a prosecutor, it is not my place to decide who's guilty and who's not. I won't engage in corruption. Even if it's to encounter corruption from another noble's house. I'm sorry. Do you know where Miriam is right now? Didn't you hear what I just said? You can't let her think that there's any slightest possibility that you'll indicate her. She'll bring the entire rest of House Freyja down on you. Regardless, I can't do anything for Wallace unless I know everything that happened. Freyja has the last piece of evidence I need to put everything together. Well, I suppose I don't have much of a choice, do I? Her dormitory is room 107. I imagine she'll be there considering their classes are suspended. Thank you, Steelwind. If I don't tell you, I'm sure you'll just find out by some other means. But please, Mr. Cuthbert, be careful. You follow Miss Steelwind's directions and found Miriam Verringham's dorm room. The door leading inside seems ordinary decorated from the other rooms. You knock on the door, but you don't realize that it's partially closed. As you first come into contact with the wood, you accidentally push the door wide open. Excuse me, how dare you barge into my room? Sorry, I meant to knock, but... Construct, remove these hoodlums from my room. Acknowledge. From the corner of the room, a construct stands up and starts making its words to you. Before you can protest, it raises its fist to hit you. You only have enough time to raise your arm to brace yourself for impact. You close your eyes and wait for the blow. But instead, you hear the clang of steel against steel. Confused, you open your eyes and see Celeste standing between you and the construct. Her sword is strong and she's using it to block the construct's fist. Upon taking a closer look at Celeste, the student stares cautiously at her. Construct, stand down. Acknowledge. I'm terribly sorry for that. I wasn't aware that this was your servant. Celeste looks angry, but puts her sword without a word. I haven't even noticed you around campus. Are you a new student? If she has a personal attendant, she must be important. What? You've seen an opportunity. Yes, my master just enrolled here recently. What? Celeste gives you a puzzled look, but you make a silent gesture back. After a moment, she seems to realize what you're doing. Yes, I just started here. I take it you're Miriam Freyja? Yes, I'm honored that you recognize me. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, miss. I'm Celeste. I forgot that was the question of the day. I haven't changed that in maybe a month. But then again, nobody answered the question. So I guess since this is the last game I played, I mean, as long as I stay away from anybody who uses magic, I think I'm fine. I just do my normal. I'll think I'll be fine if I just stick to my normal self and be my normal introverted self. I think I'll be fine. But if we're talking about last animes we watched, I would be fucked. She catches herself and pauses for an awkward moment. Steelwind. I'm Celeste Steelwind. You can't believe her. There's no way she's gonna believe. Steelwind? It's a pleasure to meet another member of such an esteemed house. Well, wait, she's actually buying this?! I love that. I just moved in, and I thought I should introduce myself. Seeing as you're a tough student in the field of conjugation. Yes! Well, there's no backing out now. Yeah, I've actually played a lot of Ace Attorney myself. I did understand. And I mean, to be fair, the way I always describe this game is Ace Attorney with magic and wizards and stuff. So yeah, I understand that you were probably referring to Ace Attorney, so, or at least one of the games of Ace Attorney. May I ask specifically which Ace Attorney game, though? Just forgot. I was wondering if we could ask you some questions about. Excuse me, I don't believe anyone has permitted you to speak. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I guess we have to let Celeste do all the talking. Celeste is still smiling, but you can faintly hear her gritting her teeth together. So we heard about what happened to Professor. Oh, trials and tribulations. I have not touched that game in over 2 years. But then again, to be fair, I still need to play Dual Destiny and Spirit of Justice. But those are like the only games I have left! I can't believe it. Yes, it's quite tragic what happened to her. I know, right? She's always been an acquaintance of House Frigga. She appears to be more respective to Celeste. It might be better to let her take the lead on questioning. We heard that you saw her on the day of the murder. Could you tell us more about what happened? Oh, you heard about that from your relative, didn't you? If you don't mind me asking, why are you so interested? Oh, you know, I'm just curious is all. You know how uneventful life can be sometimes. Being a noble and all. Alright, tone it down. Oh, is that all? I was worried you were going to go the same down the same path as that poor, confused Arya. What does she mean by that? But I'm in the middle of a study break anyways. I suppose I have time to sate your curiosity. Construct, please prepare some tea. Use that lotus tea we imported from the Eastern Kingdoms. She could be useful if I win her favor. Acknowledged. Lotus tea? You have lotus juice? You feel like you're slowly losing control of this situation. Just like, I'm standing here, just like, I'm the lawyer here. The lawyer was a noble and a, in quotes, noble. I hear that you saw the professor on the day of the murder. Where did this happen? I was in the hallways when I saw her coming out of the headmaster's room. She was heading towards the library. Do you remember what time this happened? I'm not really sure, honestly. It's a little embarrassing, but I have a bad habit of getting too absorbed in my work. Sometimes I'll let entire hours pass without noticing. Do you have a rough idea, at least? I think it was in the morning. She thinks it was the morning? But anyways, did anything seem off about her? No. It was a short encounter. I merely greeted her, and she responded in kind. Or at least that's what should have happened. That thought just now. What does it mean? You slowly glance at Celeste and catch her attention. In small motions, you shake your head and indicate that Miriam is holding something back. Were you and the professor really on good terms? I heard she was pretty mean towards the other students. Towards the riffraffs, maybe, but not to students like us. She was a great ally to Frigga, or at least she used to be. That's why we're planning on appointing her as the new headmaster. Wait, what did you just say? Did you just say that your family was going to appoint Bellwether as the new headmaster? Oh, I'm surprised you didn't know. House Frigga holds several seats in the Academy's board. We're making sure plans to have her replace the Louts of Redmond. You were going to sack the headmaster? Did Headmaster Redmond know about this? Oh, of course not. This was a part of a large-scale plan. Along with Redmond, we're also going to replace all the staff members with Arcane constructs. We had to keep everything under wraps, or else the help would have left prematurely. And where will they leave us? But Jan supposedly overheard Bellwether talking about the construct. Did Bellwether prematurely reveal the plan, or was Jan trying to lie about how he found out? But alas, Bellwether's gone, and we'll have to delay our plans. So, we heard that Arya took your Reaper as evidence for the case. Can you believe her? She still won't give that back to me! My father will have my head if I can't get that back soon. I didn't even become part of the investigation anyways. I don't know! Arya won't tell me anything! I swear, if that necromancer was the one who stole it, I'll execute him myself! So someone did steal it from you. Yes, from right outside my room. When did this happen? About a few weeks ago. I noticed when I came back from one of my classes. Someone removed the Reaper from its case in my room. How did they get into your room in the first place? Do you think someone used the magic to teleport past the door? Please, I'm a master of conjuration magic. If someone attempted that, my enchantments would have shunned them out. This means the thief came through one of the doors or the windows. I bet it was that necromancer. I'm sure that's a street child like him just knows how to pick a lock. Still less angry, but smiling. I heard that you're one of the Academy's top students. Your grades must be amazing. Of course, as an inheritor of House Frega, my grades are impeccable. It feels good to have my greatness recognized. That's strange. You don't see anything contradictory to the eyes this time. You make a gesture toward her plus to continue pressing her. Oh, what kind of magic do you study here? You must be joking. I study magic from the School of Conjugation. Just like most members of my house. That's School of Conjugation. That's the type of magic that specializes in the spiritual manipulation and teleportation, right? Yes, I consider myself quite the expert on that field. But the Crown Prince must have asked for my assistance in the research study. It's nice to work with someone of my caliber. Again, you don't see any thoughts that contradict what she's saying. Does that mean she's not lying? She's smart enough to get the Crown Prince's attention. Why would she need to be cheating? You said something about my wayward relative before. Were you talking about Arya? Oh, I'm terribly sorry if I offended you. But I'm sure it must pain to you the way she's been acting lately. Yes, it's extremely hard. Hang in there, Celeste. Do you know she even interrogated me about the murder yesterday? Can you believe it? A steel wing running around a crime scene like a common night? Why, if I was trying to hide something like that, my father would disown me. The nobility not approve of Steel Wind becoming her prosecutor? You always thought that it was strange, but what's motivating her to do this? Honestly, she probably thinks she can do anything just because of her betrothed. Esther deserves better. Celeste's eyes perk up on hearing this. You'd be lying if you were all curious about who this Esther is. But you shot her a stern look to tell her to stay focused. You can't risk blowing your cover from some gossip. You have an arcane construct in your room? I thought they only had them in the library in the locker room. This construct was a gift from the house of Mons St. Chris. I have to say, they are quite inconvenient to have around. They look really cool. Maybe I should get one. You should. A construct would be far more useful than this attendant of yours. Celeste smiling through her anger again. Unfortunately, there are still some issues with their intelligence. Their intelligence? There are issues when you give them more complex commands. It might be easier to show you. Miriam turns to the construct and begins gesturing towards it. Construct, please retrieve my textbooks and bring them here. Then cast Steel Wing Strike at this location. After that, relieve some plates and set them outside the table. Acknowledged. But what? The construct stands up and retrieves Miriam's textbook from the shelves in the room. It brings them to the table you're sitting at, just like she orders. But then, it suddenly stops moving. Wait, What happened? The construct obviously can't cast Steel Wind Strike, so my second command was impossible to carry out. But did you notice something else? It ignored your third command too. Correct, my third command was possible to carry out. So why did it ignore that command? Constructs execute a series of commands in the order that they're given. But let's say one of those tasks is impossible to complete. When the construct skips that task, it deems the entire series impossible to complete. As a result, it will stop executing the series altogether. So if a task in a series of commands is impossible, then that command will interrupt the sequence of commands. Exactly. Lady Steelwind, I'm afraid we must leave if we want to make our next engagement. Oh, right. Let's go, servant. Oh, leaving already? It was a pleasure talking to you. Yeah, sure. I hope to see you around. You make your way back to the foyer with Celeste. It's all the time you spent, and only a brief amount of time before the night falls. Are you sure you didn't want to talk to her more? We're getting a lot out of her. We already got a lot of useful information out of her. The more time we spend with her, the more likely she will see through our ruse. Right. So why Steelwind? I don't know, I panicked! Harriet's like the only noble I know. What about Pierce? I'm not using that creep's name. Well, hopefully Steelwind doesn't mind us borrowing her name. And we got her statement on what she saw that day. And there's also what she said about her Reaper. I bet she was lying when she said someone stole it. Stealing. She was probably trying to establish an alibi. I'm not so sure. Why do you say that? Doesn't it feel too obvious? If she was lying about the Reaper being stolen, that would imply she planned all of this in advance. But if she had chosen a murder weapon, why would she choose something like that literally has her name on it? I understand if the murder was a spur-of-the-moment decision. She might have just used something nearby in this case. But if that was a premeditated murder committed by Miriam, that Reaper would have had the last weapon. Would have been the last weapon she would choose. Right. I guess that makes sense. There's also the evidence of the academic dishonesty. It doesn't match up with what we heard from Miriam. You mean all that stuff with working with the Crown Prince? She was probably just making things up to look good in front of me. I have an insight when it comes to things like this. Under normal circumstances, I can usually tell when someone is lying. And a lie as grandiose as that would be something I would see through. People can secretly shield themselves from the eyes of audience if they don't know about it. But when you do that, you usually can't see any thoughts from them. You also saw that she was lying to her encounter with Bellwether. You would have seen the honest thoughts if she was lying about her grades. Well, I guess I trust your insight. Well, what does this mean? I don't know. Even with everything we found, I'm still not sure who the real culprit is. At very least, I still think we should try to pull Miriam onto the stand. If she testifies in court, I might be able to try find something I can use. That's a big maybe. If you don't play your cards right, you might spook the Ferris enough to make them pay off the judge. Either way, it's getting late. We probably have to turn in soon. Yeah. You just hope you did enough to acquit Wallace. Yes, I would like to save. But unfortunately, I think that's where I'm going to end for tonight. It was a lovely evening. Thank you all for joining. I really much appreciated it. I really do. I do really appreciate when people join in. So, you guys enjoyed the return to the stream. Get ready for a pretty epic 2025. I got big plans. I talked about them all at the end of Turnabout Christmas, so if you missed that, just the VOD is up on YouTube, so like I said, I don't know if I'm gonna be back on Saturday with anything.
If it is probably going to be something with Madcap and Alexa. Come on, people. Is there really no one in whom I can read right now?
There is truly no one in whom I can raid right now. This is sad. So good night. I'll see you maybe Saturday. But if anything, Tuesday.